Hello folks, welcome to this episode of Rich Insights. I'm Don Rich, Head of Investments for Esoterica Capital. Today's topic is on the oil market. Is the oil price being manipulated? I know I talked about this a fair bit in the past, but in the oil industry, we get weekly information, very timely information, and I continue to be baffled by oil prices. Now, of course, in other markets, we know that price discovery is being impaired, resulting in a number of investment markets that are more and more zombie-like. That is just the world we live in today. Is the oil market becoming zombified? Oil prices no longer seem to be responding to demand and supply conditions. So let's jump right into the charts here. So here we have the recent performance of the nearby oil futures contract. And what I'm talking about here is for the last 6 or 8 weeks, this thing has essentially flatlined. It almost looks like it's been pegged around 40, right? If it dips below 40, there seems to be some buying activity. If it goes above, perhaps some selling activity. That to me seems really suspicious. But it's a backdrop. Right? It's the background that I'm even more concerned with. That's the thing that just doesn't make any sense to me. What's the fat guy talking about? Well, again, you've seen it many times before, but these oil inventories, again, we just received the most recent one here as of July 17th, and we continue to just bounce around the top here to maintain this extremely high level of inventories in the U.S., right? And when you have that level of inventory, you would think that it's got to show up in prices in a reasonable amount of time. What about consumption? Well, consumption has rebounded a little bit. You'll notice in the most recent week, consumption actually declined. That's right, boys and girls, I said declined. So it did bounce markedly from the lows, but look at where we're at today. Right, just shy of 18 million barrels a day, not the 21, 22 that we were used to. So as the virus wears on, as this thing continues, the demand destruction is alive and well, obviously. So we got inventories, again, at all-time highs or very close to all-time highs. We have consumption that continues to lag. And what else? Oil production. We continue to crank out the volume here. Oil production has declined a little bit, but still it's 11 million barrels per day. Again, not 13, but 11 million. And notice this spike up. Not only did consumption fall last week, but production actually increased. What? This is nuts. And yet the price of oil is, generally going up. It's staying flat to appreciating in this environment. This is just crazy. Last chart I want to show you is the oil rig count. The U.S. oil rig count has collapsed. It has just absolutely collapsed. This whole energy renaissance periods they talked about, the U.S. becoming self-reliant and so forth, that's all gone. That's all gone. And yet, we maintain 11 million barrels per day. Even though we're shutting down rigs on a weekly basis, the production just continues. These are the supply and demand characteristics I'm talking about. I just don't understand this. And again, I've mentioned this before, but it seems like the more times I mention it, the louder I scream, the higher oil prices go. I don't know what's going on here. This really seems to be odd. All right. Again, we know the zombie-like features have taken over a number of the markets. Maybe the oil market is one of those as well. Maybe the oil market is being manipulated because it sure as hell doesn't look like it's behaving according to supply and demand conditions. All right, so that's our message for today. I'm Don Rich, and you just experienced a rich insight. I hope you've enjoyed it. May your beer be colder than the company you keep. We'll talk again soon. Thank you.